Hello, my wonderful friends. It's me again, and it's time for another story. This comes to us from Reddit user ScottishBoy2002. I like your name. It reminds me of, usernames from back when I used to use things like a Yahoo Messenger. Yes, I am that old. Don't judge me. It brings me joy, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, the name of this story is Numisma Beard, the coin-collecting outcast. I really hope I said that right. Let me share you a story about a boy whose behavior still boggles my mind to this day. As once said in Blur's Country House, so the story begins. As my username suggests, I'm from a country that's north of England with the accent that sounds familiar to Shrek's. This boy I'm talking about would probably set every girl's creep alarm off every time he walked past them. I introduce you to Numisma Beard. Now, Numisma Beard isn't the neckbeard Reddit and 4chan makes you think what a neckbeard looks like. He wasn't fat or obese, nor did he own a fedora, or call girls females or m'lady, or carry a katana. But he did have a wispy pube-like beard. I mean, who didn't? And he didn't shower at times, so you could imagine how he smelled. He wasn't an anime fan or a nice guy / incel, but he was quite creepy with girls at times. Well, as we've always said here, it's not the fedora they wear, but the fed aura they exude. Now about the name, Numisma Beard. Well, he's a numismatist. He collects old and foreign coins, but instead of keeping them in a binder or a book, he kept them in a poly bag. He'd talk about what kind of coins he recently got, what year they were minted, what metal they were made out of, etc., etc. He had nearly every European currency known to man, pre-decimal British coins, French francs, Portuguese escudos, Italian liras, German marks, Spanish pestas. I probably said a lot of those wrong. You name it. Even euros and dollars that he could exchange for British pounds. He was also an avid Sonic fan, and every time he could, he would draw Sonic characters or play the games on online emulators, or listen to the soundtrack to any Sonic game. When not listening to Sonic songs or talking about his coins, he'd listen to normal music, 80s, 90s, 2000s, stuff like that, without headphones and putting his ears up to the phone speaker and walk about listening to Nirvana or Westlife. Hey, Nirvana's good. He did get bullied a lot at school. Because of his Asperger's, he couldn't really fight back without looking or sounding like a right tool. So he just took it every single time for 5 long, hard years. He had a hard time getting his emotions out, especially after his mother passed away in the summer before he started secondary school. He was pretty much an emotionless person, the kind of person you'd probably expect to be bullied to the point of committing some sort of horrible atrocity. But you could always rely on teachers and staff of school. I guess those could be considered friends. He didn't have much luck with the ladies either. Never really made an attempt to ask someone out or admit his feelings to someone without being creepy. So he was pretty much one of the few people in his year not to have a boyfriend / girlfriend. Now people may think this is a fake story because of the detail put into it, and people will ask me how I know so much about this person's life. Well, that's because that person was me. I'm doing much better for myself. I learned to think before I speak and realized that my behavior was subpar. I got into college, passed my course, despite missing a few assignments. I got my own friend circle, and I'm taking care of my personal hygiene. And yes, I'm still a numismatist to this day. See, before going into this, I kind of glanced over this story, so I kind of knew how it ended. And I will say this to you, my wonderful OP here, ScottishBoy2002. After reading this story, I understand that you kind of put this definition to yourself, but you don't sound like a neckbeard to me. Like, at all. When we specifically talk about neckbeards on this channel, as I said earlier in this, it's not the fedora they wear, but the fedora they exude. I've known several people who fit the physical description of what one would consider a neckbeard as described by places like Reddit, 4chan, and things like that. But they're absolutely charming and wonderful people. They don't have any of the really toxic, negative mentalities associated with what we consider neckbeard behavior. It's the reason why we have that little saying about the fedora. And it's the reason why we use it often. Because you totally can just be someone who looks a different way, or someone who may act a different way, but you still don't fit the bill of a neckbeard. The coin collecting thing is actually a pretty interesting hobby, and I've heard a lot of people who are into that. My uncle, actually, was a big coin collector for the longest time. So that's pretty cool. Actually, I think that's pretty neat. As for Sonic stuff, I used to play all those games when I was a kid, too. I actually still have, my old Genesis, and my biggest complaint is that a lot of modern emulators, the little micro systems, we have the micro NES and the stuff like that. A lot of the micro systems specifically put Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles as two separate games, which, technically they are, but they're meant to be played together. They're meant to be plugged into one another because the system was designed that way, and use all the expanded levels. So I actually hate whenever they do that because it really screws up the flow. I'm used to being, have access to all of them. So no, I don't think that's weird. I think Sonic's pretty hilarious. More recent stuff has gotten even more hilarious. And that's, granted because I like weird shit and I like absolute trash fires, but that's also fine. I already know about, the soundtracks and everything. I'm pretty sure that was Crush 40 who did a lot of the music for that. But, no, that also doesn't really fit the bill for neckbeard stuff. The usual go-to is that Sonic must have something to do with it. With it, just being weird in general. Because the biggest association we have with that is someone like Chris Chan. But what makes Chris Chan, entertainingly weird is not the fact that Chris likes Sonic. It's the shit that Chris does around that. Just being a fan of something isn't enough. You actually have to, be another thing. So, in my professional opinion, and this is the few times I can say that I have a professional opinion, because I guess I am kind of a professional at identifying neckbeard things. Since I do it a lot, I don't think you sound like a neckbeard. I think you sound like a socially awkward kid who went through some shit when you were younger. And, school can be really shitty. High school is a hell of a drug. I've said that several times. And things like that can happen. But it sounds like you're actually fitting into a new circle, finding where you want to be in life, and things are getting better. You just sound like somebody who went through some shit. But you sound like a great person. And I believe that. Again, I'm a professional. And a space unicorn. So I got that going for me, too. So, with all that being said, thank you for sharing this incredibly interesting story. And thank you for kind of going out of your way to share with everybody about, your own feelings, your past, and everything with that. It takes a lot of guts to write that kind of stuff. And I'm glad that you really felt comfortable sharing that with us. I appreciate it. And thank you all for being a part of this wonderful experience of storytelling and things like that. Obviously couldn't happen without you guys. Because I'd just be talking to myself and that would be weird. I do that already, but that's not the point. Anyway, if you do enjoy this channel, and I certainly hope you do, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. I have a Ko-Fi if you'd like to donate to this channel so I can keep the lights on in here. Greatly appreciated. And I have a merch store. It's like donating, except you get t-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff in return, which is more like buying things, not so much donation. I'm really good at this, can you tell? Anyway, every Saturday there's a live stream, so you can come see me do this, but live. So it's less like talking directly to myself, and more like talking to myself while a bunch of people watch. And, yeah, that's about it for this wonderful experience. If you have your own story, send it to my subreddit. r/Moonhorse Stories. I check it. Obviously. It's mine. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. I love you all so very much. Goodbye.